Today I was deeply inspired by words of Marcus Aurelius from the book Meditations, book 8, verse 51, where he's talking about five important segments, or let's say aspects of our lives that really require our attention. And if we pay attention to them and learn to manage them in a really careful and conscious way, we can transform our lives in really creative manners. So, what he said, in your actions, don't procrastinate. In your conversations, don't confuse. In your thoughts, don't wander. In your soul, don't be passive or aggressive. In your life, don't be all about business, my friend. So, I want to talk about this today. All those five aspects, as they're all really, really important. And when it comes to our actions, many of us are dealing with procrastination. And many of us don't know from where procrastination is coming from and how to deal with it. And what I've learned in my life is that if I'm not managing well my time, if I'm not scheduling well the things that I have to do, I will most probably lose the control over what I need to do, and therefore I will start to feel like I have so many things to do, and because I don't know where to start, I will start nowhere, and suddenly I will be overwhelmed with the sensation of not doing what I know I have to do. So usually procrastination comes from the lack of clarity, and the lack of clarity comes from too much of distraction. We are distracted with too many things, and once we start managing our time better, as time is it's all we have, right? We can't spin backwards the time, and each moment is bringing us an opportunity to choose what we'll do. And if we choose it from, let's say, inner wisdom, we'll create results or products that will make our lives better. And all we have to do is to live life in greater clarity, so we can stop procrastinating and taking brave action, taking action out of clarity, and build a stronger muscle of will. That's something I've learned in my life. And when I've started managing the things that I know I have to do better, I've started noticing that I have actually much more time than I thought that I have. So I've started investing more of my time into my dreams, into what's important to me, into what I want to see grow in the future, because whatever is important to you, you can make it grow into something beautiful if you just pay enough attention to it. And I know many of you may say, well, because of my family, I don't have time for my dreams. Because of my kids, I don't have time for that, because of whatever reasons. But usually the fact is that we're just not being able to manage our time well. If we're able to express clearly our needs to our partner, to maybe to your kids, to your parents, to your friends, whoever is surrounding you, if you're just able to express your needs more clearly, everybody will understand that this is important to you, and they will help you to make it happen. But sometimes it may happen that people around you may not support your mission. And if that's the case, it may also be a reason you're procrastinating. But I want to remind you, well, those who don't understand the value of your dream will never see a reason to support you. So the first thing you have to know is for you to understand the value of your dream. And when people around you are not supporting you, make sure that you set well boundaries, so you have the space to make it happen. Doesn't matter where you've been planted, you You may just find yourself being that rose that grows through the concrete. Maybe that's you. If that's you, I'm celebrating you because I was that rose as well. And many of us may find ourselves like that, but know that those roses are the strongest. Right? You've been there. You've been planted there for a reason. Know that, my friend. So the first reminder is stop procrastinating. Don't procrastinate in your actions. When something is important to, make everything that is in your power to make it happen. Never stop learning. Never stop training your brain, expanding your mental, intellectual capacities to gain new knowledge. Go into science, go into, books that may feel drawn to you, that may feel magnetized towards you. Sometimes you come across right information that may find you out of nowhere and study it. You will see there's a great power in synchronicities when you start paying more attention to the signs that are appearing in your life. Then Marcus Aurelius said, in your conversation, don't confuse. So what he meant by that? Well, in my understanding, he meant that learn to articulate yourself. Learn to express yourself. Always practice self-expression. So when you have concerns about something, you don't just fall out of anger because something is bothering you. You learn to articulate your concerns in such a way that you don't need to be angry anymore. You're in clarity expressing what you think that is wrong. And it may open up a whole new conversation that may bring you and all the participants in that conversation closer to potential solutions. That's the power of clarity in our minds that can help us to express ourselves more clearly. And, often our conversations may cause a confusion when there's a confusion in our minds and we're talking about something we don't understand. So make sure that what you're trying to explain or what you're trying to express is a subject of your understanding. And sometimes there are things we want to talk about, but we are lacking understanding, and therefore we need to learn more about it, or we need to find people who can teach us more about it. So on the world, there's already too much of confusion. And what we need people who have clarity in their mind, so they can express themselves clearly, so they can express knowledge clearly, and most importantly, wisdom clearly. So we don't just, share new belief systems and, any kind of belief systems onto others. We share clarity with others, because clarity is like a map on which roads are seen clearly, and you know that each road will take you to a certain destination. And clarity then allows you to see what's the destination you're walking towards. So this is an important lesson here. In your conversations, don't confuse. Work on mental clarity. Work on understanding of yourself. And when you don't understand yourself, make sure that you study yourself. Make sure that you connect with people who can help you understand certain patterns that are maybe right now hard to know why they are the way they are. Sometimes certain traumas may cause us to behave in unknown, unfamiliar, and unpleasant ways, and they're just encouraging us to understand the origin, to understand the pattern, so we can know why you are the way you are. Because in knowing comes liberation, right? Once we acknowledge something, we start to feel a bit lighter, because we know that we're not broken. We know that there's nothing wrong with us. There is just a missing piece of the puzzle. And when we gain a better understanding of something, it's like getting pieces of the puzzle together and suddenly we see a bigger picture. That's powerful. And when we have a bigger picture about ourselves and about the world we're living in, we'll stop confusing people. We'll actually start spreading something helpful, something valuable with those who surrounds us. And then he said, in your thoughts, don't wander. This one is really, really powerful because it helps us to be more present. And it doesn't mean don't daydream. It doesn't mean don't brainstorm. But what I've learned in my life is that it's much better to have moments in a day where we choose them for brainstorming. And we have moments in a day where we choose that are kind of chosen for daydreaming and for creative thinking, for creative finding of solutions and meditation and mental wandering. But when you have to be present, like in relationships, like at your job, like somewhere where you just have to be present, stop mentally wandering. Many people have weak minds because of technology, because nobody taught us how to strengthen our minds. We don't have the right tools, we don't have the right skills how to strengthen it, so therefore our minds are wandering to all kinds of different places. But I want to remind you that there's a way to strengthen your mind, to be present when you have to be present. Practice being present, practice being in the moment, practice feeling what you feel. When you are, for example, in a relationship, be there with that person. And if the conversation feels boring, because that's often the cause why people start wandering, rather tell that person that what you're talking about is boring, let's go to deeper stuff, right? It's honesty, my friend. Honesty can help you so much to make conversations more interesting. Sometimes you may trigger someone, but even triggering is okay because it is just opening a person to a greater depth of his or her soul from which great wisdom may be found. So, my friends, in your thoughts, don't wander, but rather find a time in a day where you're creative and use it for creative thinking. Like for me, it's from 5 a.m. to 12 p.m. A great time for creative thinking, for creative wandering, but I also use what I find in my creative wandering. I do great stuff out of it. I make art, I make videos, I use my creative findings. So don't just wander. You know, we have this capacity of mental wandering. So we find new inspiration there, not to escape from where we are. Because we've been planted here, like I said, for a reason. And we have that capacity for mental wandering, to download ideas and get inspiration and gain clarity out of certain situations. Meditation is a great tool to find that. But don't use your mental wandering for escaping from where you are at the times when you actually have to be present. So those are already great insights. But one of the most important one to me is the one that he said, in your soul, don't be passive or aggressive. This one is so important because as many people are passive and therefore life is just passing by, right? They feel there's something wrong, but they're not even paying attention to what may be wrong. They're not expressing their emotions. They're not expressing their concerns. People who are passive in their soul, they're not paying attention to what could be improved, to what could be changed. They're not paying attention to their potential. Or they may see that there's something wrong in the world and they don't do anything about it. That's what it means to be passive. And they are the worst thing they are doing. Actually, we are all doing it here and there. Is that we are ignoring our own lessons in our breakdowns, in our failures, in the moments, when we think that something goes wrong, we ignore the lessons. That's what it means to be passive. But then the opposite extreme to that is being aggressive about everything. Like you may see there's something wrong in the world and you go out and scream, we have to find the solutions, right? We have to do this, you have to do this. That's another extreme. Or sometimes you find a healthier way of living and you start pushing those beliefs to everyone who may find you on your journey. And you become quite toxic for many people. Or another form of being aggressive is that you may be suffering because of certain reasons and you start attacking others like they're the reasons you're suffering and all of that. You see, Aristotle said that we should look on life through the lens of moderation. And moderation is, it means finding the middle point. But it's interesting because Buddha said that as well. Buddha said, you have to find the middle point, right? So we're all kind of in a search for the middle point. But the funny fact is that you have to experience two extremes. So at some point you can discover what's that sweet spot in the middle between these two extremes, because that's where the most happiness can be found. That's where the most bliss and flow can be found. And the less mood swings and energy swings will be experienced. So I guess to a certain point of our lives, we are all on a journey of discovering the middle point of whatever is important to us. And once we discover it, we establish a great flow. And that certain part of our lives becomes really, let's say, flourished, right? We start flourishing in that aspect of our lives. And again, as Aristotle said, flourishing is the highest form of one's expression, of one's beingness, which is really an incredible state to be in. And as we find flourishing in all kinds of different aspects of our lives, we create something really, really magnificent out of our life's experience. So it all starts with moderation, and moderation can be found with a great amount of awareness, right? We have to be conscious about what we're doing. And if we are able to observe our lives well, to observe our acts well, what we are doing, how we're thinking about things, how we are expressing ourselves, and importantly, how we are reacting and responding to the world around us. Once we become more conscious about all those impulses and expressions and realizations, then we can do something with that knowledge that was kind of awakened within our consciousness. And then all it comes to our will, to put it into work, to embody what we've learned and practice it until we become really good at it, because we can only become who we are practicing to be, right? So if we're practicing moderation, we'll become moderate humans, human beings actually, because we are human beings, right? So pay attention to that. And then Marcus Aurelius said, in your life, don't be all about business, because life is all about life, and business, it's just one small aspect of it. Isn't that so? But often when we're struggling, maybe with finances, we may be constantly thinking about how to increase our finances. But sometimes the reason for a lack of money may be a lack of health, because we have a weak health, we have a weak energy, and with weak energy we can't come to greater ideas and solutions. So sometimes the problem of money is not in money actually, but in our health and in our mental attitude towards life and towards ourselves. And many people are lacking a great amount of self-love. So what I think about business is that it should always be a reflection of our personal and spiritual growth. And then if we are able to package it in a way that can be beneficial and helpful for the world around us, we can create a product that will not just bring us money in return as the product of our efforts. It will always create a wonderful impact on the world. So once we recognize, okay, I really want to be rich in life in all the ways. I want to be rich with health. I want to be rich with energy. I want to be rich with positivity. I want to be rich with experiences. And I also want to be rich with finances. We recognize, well, firstly, I need to know how to awaken those energies within me, how to make my body healthier, how to make my mind more uplifted, richer with thoughts, right? If you think rich thoughts, you will experience richer life. And if you shift your habits the way that you stop procrastinating and start being more productive, and you become more creative around the things that may actually become something that may bring you financial growth, like become more skillful at the things that are already important to you. If you're an artist, you're never finished at creative growth, right? You're never finished at whatever you're doing. You're never finished. The master is never done at his growth, at his learning, at his expression. And once we know that we are never at the finish line. We're always in the present moment, knowing that there's more growth that may find us as we are able to see the possibilities and potentials that may await us as we are walking towards the greatest possible version we can be. And that may remind you that even your business is not just about business. The business should be just an extension of your well-lived life. And once that happens, you will start making money with something that you truly love to do. And all your growth will become an inspiration to keep up with your business, whatever it will be. And at that point, your life may become really, really incredible. But I want to remind you, if you want to live that kind of a life, you already need to see yourself as you're walking towards that life. So you already need to awaken within you that energy of an incredible life. So you remind yourself that you deserve it, that you're worthy of it, as you're willing to do whatever you have to do to get there. Out of your integrity, out of your gratitude, and out of your self-respect and honor for your ancestors. Because of them, you are where you are today. And because they love you so much, until this day, that they are supporting you in your own healing, so you can become what for them was just a dream. My friend, I hope you found something valuable in today's video. I'm leaving you now, and thanks to all of you for supporting my art in our Etsy shop, I Draw My Passion. I hope you've enjoyed in today's painting as well, and till next time, much love, blessings, and power. Stay beautiful, stay creative, and see you soon. One love.